What we have in the news. Man dead after allegedly being stabbed at my companions and knees. Newell to replace a guy in Central St. Mary. Labor Ministry intervenes a cause a conciliation meeting with a strike-ready NWC workers' representatives. Detectives attached to the Erewhon Police Division have launched a probe into the death of a traffic policeman who is believed to have committed suicide. My viewers and subscribers, welcome to News Replay JM, where we update you with the latest news. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave your comment, and don't forget to smash that notification bell so you can be updated so YouTube can recommend us to many more. Thank you. I am Mitzi Johnson. Now the news in details. Morning, colleagues that remember Hanover cop as a dedicated lawman. Detectives attached to the Erewhon Police Division have launched a probe into the death of a traffic policeman who is believed to have committed suicide by shooting himself at his home in Westgate Hills in St. James on Sunday morning. The deceased, accountable, Ernest or Tracy, was attached to the traffic department in Lucy, Hanover up to the time of his death. Reports reaching the news are that shortly after 11 a.m. a gunshot was heard coming from Tracy's apartment in Westgate Hills, and when checks were made, it was found dead, lying in a pool of blood inside his home. He had a gunshot wound to the head and his firearm was lying beside him. The police were summoned and the Tracy was rushed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was admitted in critical condition. He, however, succumbed to his injury on Sunday afternoon. Tracy was a very secretive person. He never did like to talk about himself, and as a matter of fact we as a police knew very little about his personal life, one traffic cop in Hanover told the news. He was a very dedicated and hardworking officer and has always been on the bus since he was transferred from St. James to Hanover closer 2 years ago. The traffic cop said that Tracy spent most of his years with the Freeport Traffic Department in St. James, but was transferred to another in early 2022 where he had been working until his death. Another policeman in Hanover said he saw Tracy last Monday at the Lucy Parish Court, where he had a traffic matter with Rastafarian Bratwars. Tracy is my very good friend. As a matter of fact, I speak to him quite a lot, but he never gave me any form of indication that he was going through stress or anything like that, the senior police officer said. I spoke to him last Monday after he came to court in Lucy, and as a matter of fact, he was in a cheerful mood, so I don't see what could have driven him to take his own life. The officer further stated that Tracy never struck him as the kind of person who would commit suicide. If you or your loved one requires a mental health support, call the Mental Health Suicide Prevention Helpline at 888-639-5433 or go to the Ministry of Health and Wellness webpage to schedule a free counseling session. Man dead after allegedly being stabbed at my companions and knees. That seemed under Northup police have reportedly taken a soon-to-be mother into custody after she fatally stabbed a man during a domestic dispute at their home in Mount Augustine, Adro over the weekend. Occurring around the 8:15 p.m. Saturday, the incident has since then sent a residents at tongue wagging as a community discusses the deadly incident in public court. The residents were largely stroked by the reality of one young individual facing murder charges and another's family left to plan a funeral. The deceased is a 31-year-old Doran W., unemployed of a Mount to Ogle address. Reports are that the West and the 18-year-old accused had a dispute and the knife was used to stop him. According to the police, they resided at the same location under the dead man was in a relationship with the accused aunt. Information reaching the news is that the two parties had an altercation and the West held on to the suspect's neck. She reportedly managed to free herself and ran to a house where she armed herself with her knife, the young woman advised, residents said, subsequently crossed paths in a walkway leading to the yard where another altercation developed between them, during which she used the knife to stab him in the neck once. The collapsed and was later assisted to the Kingston Public Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The news understands that a knife believed to be the weapon involved in the incident was retrieved from the scene yesterday. Residents and there hadn't been a contentious vibes in the area since another woman became pregnant with the Western child and he started a new relationship. Names seem to have no respect. That was what they have to say, that don't give him any right to hit her or for her to stop him. People must try to resolve differences without violence, a resident told the news. It was not immediately clear what specifically triggered a Saturday's incident, but residents say they saw it coming. The entire road was blocked, supposed to see people pure crowd full of the street when named here what happened? Some people were in shock. And some were saying they never knew it would lead to this. She pregnant and a lipoangeal time after him family have funeral for plan. A resident said the news was also told that the deceased man's family was struggling to come to terms with his death. The corporate communications unit confirmed that the incident and the said investigations are ongoing. At the same time, the police encouraged U.S. citizens to seek help with domestic violence or issues affecting families in and around the household. The Jamaica Constabulary Force's Domestic Violence Intervention centers provide assistance to anyone who is being abused in any way by their partner. Persons who need help are encouraged to call or visit the DVI center or police station closest to them. Newell to replace a guy in Central St. Mary. Omar Newell, the former head of the People's National Party affiliate the Patriots, is set to replace Dr. Murray Skye as the party standard-bearer in Central St. Mary. Newell turned back the challenge of veteran Senator Dr. Floyd Morris in a candidate selection exercise yesterday, taking 174 OFA 332 delegates vote. Morris received the 158 votes, said in a conciliatory tone as he addressed the supporters after the results. Moore announced Newell said you had two very good candidates who could represent any constituency, and when you go wrong, I want you to keep that in mind. So we're going to work with Comrade Floyd Morris, we're going to work with every comrade who is prepared to work with us and who is prepared to march forward for progressive Central St. Mary. The result are confirmed that the findings of a leaked internal PIN people that found a new URL to be the preferred candidate over Maurice, who was making a second attempt to become a member of parliament in the constituency of his birth. Guy has been the MP for St. Mary's Central for almost 21 years. Labour Ministry intervenes a conciliation meeting with a strike-ready NWC workers' representatives. The Ministry of Labour and the Social Security has again called an emergency meeting to deal with worker unrest, this time with the unions representing workers of the National Water Commission who have threatened the strike action that could potentially see customers facing lengthy water lock-off. In a statement yesterday, the ministry said it had called that the emergency conciliation meeting for today in response to a 72-hour straight notice served on the NWC at the meeting. It was announced that several hours after the unions representing workers at the NWC jointly served at the strength notice over concerns with the ongoing public sector compensation review, it is hoped an engagement it can be worked out to break the tension around the compensation proposal. In its release, the Labour Ministry said that the management of the NWC and the unions have been invited to conciliation talks at the Ministry of Labour and the Social Security Office commencing at 2 p.m. This is the second time in recent months that the Labour Ministry has had to intervene in an industrial relations dispute. In March, the Labour Minister called an emergency meeting between the Ministry of Education and Youth and the Jamaica Teachers Association after the teachers' union threatened industrial action at the government-administered educational institutions. There are more than 2,000 workers at the state-owned the NWC, which provides a piped water services for customers across the island. Wanted the government to address their concerns about the new salary bands outlined in the compensation review. Helen Davis Wanted, General Secretary of the Jamaica Association of Local Government Officers, said that the notice, dated July 7, was delivered at close to 7 o'clock on Saturday evening. The issues related to discontent over the pay bands that developed for the NWC, particularly at the lower end under the convergent principles. But we do not wanted to go into details in the media at this time, Davis White told the news. The government has over the past several months been pursuing a contentious restructuring of compensation for public sector workers. Davis White said that she had hoped for the meeting to take place today. The other agencies representing workers at the utility company, I'll Treat You Union, the National Workers Union, the Union of Public and Private Employees and their NWCC Executive Staff Association. The threat of strike action comes as customers continue to grapple with restrictions implemented months ago to deal with the ongoing drought. In May of last year, the workers went on a strike for 2 days over a reclassification exercise, crippling businesses under some public services across the country. Some 500,000 customers were affected. The Planning Institute of Jamaica reported a month later that the protest caused the NWC $240 million in revenue. About to work proposal then included a compensation review that was to be implemented within 6 months. Amid last year's protest, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said he had sought a legal opinion from Attorney General Dr. Derek McCoy on whether the NWC